Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Sam Nova198 again. Today, I wanted to talk about what has been happening, I would say the last close to a month since Sony announced this, but in case you guys don't know what's going on, Sony is officially canceling, well, not canceling, they're ending production of all PlayStation physical games moving forward, meaning any game PlayStation releases after 2028, there will not be a physical version of that game, and you will only be able to get that game on the PlayStation Store and nowhere else. So, meaning basically what this means is Sony basically has every single right to take that game or movie or show that you bought with your own money away from you, and that takes the whole option of getting physical copy out of the window, though. So I wanted to show you guys something real quick. This is one game that I've always thought about for years. I actually played it when I was younger, when I was in high school, and then I actually went back and beat it a couple years ago. But that's Dead Space 2 for the Xbox 360. Now, Dead Space 2 is one of my favorite survival horror games of all time. I love the Dead Space series. I love the first game. The remake of 1 is amazing, though. If you've never played the remake 1 and you've never played Dead Space, play the remake, but that's besides the point. But this is Dead Space 2. This is a physical copy I got used, I think I got this at a con a couple years back, can't remember, but with Dead Space 2, it is available digitally, but as long as I have a physical copy with both of the discs, I can play this game no problem. Now, there was multiplayer options for this game, but the servers were shut down, like, I think 3-4 years ago now. But that's besides the point. If you've never played Dead Space 2, highly recommend it. Awesome game. So, why did I show you that? Well, the reason I showed you that is because I got it with my own money. I think it was like $10 at MagFest. So, I bought it, and it's mine. I bought it with my own money, and it's one of those games that I love owning, because Dead Space 2 is an amazing game. But there is this trend I've noticed going forward with the last couple years with gaming, and even like just media and like people buying things in general. People are moving more towards digital than ever, and I am very against an all digital future. I'm gonna get that out of the way. I'm very against what Sony's doing. I'm not okay with it. There's this whole thing that's been happening in the last couple years called "You will own nothing and you'll be happy." Well, people now are starting to realize they own nothing and they aren't happy. Now, one of the biggest games of all time is coming out this year, Grand Theft Auto 6. So many people are excited for it, but Rockstar is not doing a standard physical release. If you want to get a physical release at a GameStop, you can, but here's the problem. The game does not have a disc, meaning if you buy the game at a GameStop, you can't refund, you can't return it, you can't sell it, you can't lend it to a friend to borrow. And that's really, honestly, a horrible idea, because let's be real, video games are really expensive now. I'm trying not to curse, and it's just not a good look. And I know people will say, well, Sam, it's like, I have, like, Netflix and stuff, I have Tubi, HBO Max, and for video games, they're like, oh, I have Xbox, PlayStation Store, Game Pass, Nintendo. Well, look, just because what the games you like and the movies you love are on those streaming services and subscription services, that does not mean they're yours. That doesn't mean they'll be there tomorrow, because if you guys don't know, before Sony made the announcement, Sony officially pulled over 400 or 500 films from Studio Canal. Well, meaning, they're not like small movies either. They're John Wick, La La Land, Django Unchained, The Hunger Games, Saw, and so many more. And John Wick, I don't know if I said John Wick, but they're taking those movies away. You will lose access to that. Even when you spent your own money, your own hard-earned money will be taken away from you. And that's why I think the all-digital future is concerning, because history will just be gone. Like, a good example of this, when I was a kid, this is the first time I really noticed I was about 15. I remember back 15, there was a game I wanted to play that was gone. And that little game was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the video game. I remember I got it when I was 12 because we went to my brother and I would sometimes go to the store and get Xbox Live cards and just use those to buy games we wanted. In this case, I bought a Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the video game, which was like an awesome 16-bit beat 'em up. And I remember playing that for years. It was a great game, but then I noticed something. I was going to GameStop. Well, not GameStop. I was going onto my 360, and I was scrolling through the store, and my library, trying to find Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, but it wasn't there. It was gone. I was like, well, where did it go? Like, I bought it. It's mine. And what I didn't realize at the time was the game, the Ubisoft had lost the license to do Scott Pilgrim, so they delisted it. And that's not just the only game to have that happen. The Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, Activision lost the license to make the Marvel games, so they got the license. They had to delist them. Same thing with the Spider-Man games. Same thing with X-Men Origins Wolverine Uncaged Edition. Those games are only available physical. They're not available digitally anymore, which is why you'll probably be wondering, well, why is Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions so expensive? It's because they're not available digitally. Same thing with the Pokemon games. Could you imagine if a Mario game did not have a standard physical release and they just pulled it from Nintendo's eShop, which Nintendo has done shitty things like that before. Well, I mean, look at what happened with 3D All-Stars. But the biggest fear, and my biggest fears are honestly coming true. Sony doing this is ultimately the final nail in, I think, a lot of people's feelings on PlayStation. PlayStation has not done a very good job, a lot of good this generation, let's be real. They made stuff like Concord, which was a $400 million flop. People in Austria and Hungary, they got their movies taken away. So this isn't the first time Sony's done it. It's kind of becoming to the point where the idea of you own nothing and you'll be happy is becoming true, and people are defending this, and I'm like, guys, don't defend this crap. This is not a good look. And look, if you decide to sell your whole physical media collection, like all your video games and movies, like, I'll stick to it, my digital collection. You'll have it today, but don't expect you'll always have it, because that's what I've always stood by. Just because the PlayStation stores are up now, I mean, the PS3 store is shutting down next year, which is very depressing, but it shows just how little these companies care, and there's got to be something that's taken care of. And Sony, they're going full forward with it. It's not a good look. And what sucks to me is that the days I remember of gaming and just media as a kid, when, like, I remember as a kid, my dad would come home with a movie, like, on VHS or DVD. My dad used to buy a ton of DVDs. He still does. My dad's a Criterion film collector. He loves Criterion films. But those days feel like they're numbered now. Sony is very willing to end physical media production for their games, and people hate that. And I hope they backtrack, but as of right now, they seem like they're not doing that. And hell, Xbox is doing the same thing, and who's to stop Nintendo from doing it? Like, this is not good for the future, man, because, like, could you imagine they remade Dead Space 2? They were going to, but they canceled it. Imagine they were going to remake this, and they removed the original Dead Space 2. Meaning, if the remake sucks, this version will be lost. Unless you have a physical copy of this, it will be way harder to find. So, yeah, I don't like what this is leading to. I hope they backtrack, but it seems like they're not going to. The all-digital future I feared is now coming true. And history, not just for movies, but I feel like one day, like most companies are going to be like, we're not going to do a physical release for movies. Like, there's so many movies out there that were on streaming that did not get a physical release. There's so many shows. Imagine with shows. Like, imagine if Disney Plus shuts down, we lose all those shows. I mean, they pulled the Willow show. Willow show and so forth, but that's besides the point. It just, I don't like where this is going. I think it's going to be a disaster waiting to happen, and I hope something happens where Sony changes their minds, but I seriously doubt they will. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about this whole situation in the comments. I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye.